I'm Silverpaw Reads, and welcome to Part 2 of Chapter 13 of Spike. Spike's face grew pallid, his eyes widened, still slightly frowning, then he broke into a nervous chuckle while wiping away the tears. You're kidding, right? Why would you write such a thing? Sam held the paper tightly. I thought I threw it away, he said mostly to himself. Marcos must have found it somehow. Sam, Spike began, what the hell's going on? Spike, there's something I've got to tell you, Sam nervously started. I don't know why I'm feeling this way. It's not my decision. I've tried to make it go away, but I can't. All I know is that... Oh, God. Spike sighed and ran his fingers through his untidy hair, trying to prepare himself for what he knew all too well was coming. I think I'm in love with you, Sam said. He finally said it. Sam carefully glanced up at Spike to see his reaction to this. Spike was walking in circles, seemingly not sure just how to react. Oh, this is too much, Spike said, disconcerted. Too much for me to take. Oh, this shit about Chuck having killed Marco, and now this. Oh, everything's just a big fucking mess. Spike, wait. Spike had started walking away. Sam tried to stop him and grabbed his arm. Get your goddamn hands off me, Spike shouted back at him and pushed Sam away so hard he almost lost his footing. I'm sorry, Spike. Sam persisted. I didn't mean for this to happen. I don't know why I'm feeling this way. It's all so confusing. You can't be in love with me. You just can't, Spike pleaded. I know, and I'm sorry, but I am. I don't understand why. Sam answered, a little repentant. How do you know you're in love? And why me? Spike asked in a frustrated tone. I don't know. Every time I look at you, I just want to be close to you, and I want to be with you. Enough! Spike yelled and began walking faster away, disgusted by the things Sam had said, disgusted at the memories of what Sam had done, like the night he slept over at his place, the two of them holding hands, Sam caressing Spike. He felt like throwing up. Please understand, Spike. It's not something I've chosen. Spike turned around and grabbed Sam by his shirt and looked him straight into the eyes. Look, you can't be in love with me, you hear? The only thing you're going to do is find a way to stop those emotions. You're not in love with me. Get it? I'm sorry. I can't make it go away. Believe me, I tried. Then you haven't tried hard enough, Spike scolded. He sighed and turned around to walk away again. Where are you going? Sam asked, and he desperately followed after Spike. Wait up! Spike didn't answer. He just walked fast, wanting to get away from Sam as fast as possible. Spike! Sam grabbed Spike's upper arm, trying to stop him. Spike stopped but didn't look at Sam. A single tear crawled down Sam's face. Please wait, he begged. Don't leave. Let go of me, Sam, Spike said solemn, still standing with his back turned against Sam, not looking at him. Sam shut his eyes, trying to hold back the river of tears that managed to press their way out. He sobbed, but he tried his very best not to. His emotions were just too strong, and it hurt too much to be this harshly rejected by his best friend, whom he loved so much. Sam, I'm warning you. Spike began slowly gritting his teeth. Let me go. No! Sam suddenly shouted. He grabbed Spike's arm even tighter, and with both hands this time. I don't know where you're going, but I'm not letting you walk out of my life like this. Sam sobbed. I'm sorry. I love you, okay? I'm sorry, but I can't help it. I never expect you to get angry and upset because of it. Please, Spike, can't we just stay the way we used to? Pretend this never happened? Don't end our friendship because of this, Spike. Please. I need you. Spike didn't answer. Come on, talk to me, Spike, Sam pressed. Well, what the hell do you want me to say, huh? Spike nearly shouted back at Sam. Still, he didn't turn his head to face him. You want me to say I'm happy that my best friend is a fucking faggot? You're so self-centered, Sam. Even though if you ever thought about for once, just stop thinking about your own damn self and seeing things from somebody else's point of view. Spike paused and got angry at himself when he let a bitter tear fall from his eye to the ground. Do you even realize how damn lucky you are? Sam looked compassionately at Spike. What Spike had said was a little off-topic, but Sam got the message. He wanted to say something, but Spike spoke first. Now, could you get your damn hands off me? He said in a calmer, though still serious tone. Sam could hear sadness in Spike's voice, and for a second thought that maybe Spike didn't mean it when he told Sam to let go. Therefore he said no, adding, You'll only leave if I do. For fuck's sake, Sam, Spike yelled. He'd had enough. Let go of me! He veered around and sent a fist flying at Sam's face, but right before he hit, Sam caught his arm by the wrist and stopped the forceful punch. Sam looked both shocked and terrified, realizing that Spike had actually tried to hit him. Spike had a most puzzled expression, not understanding how the hell Sam had been able to stop his attack like that. Then he got angry, telling himself he wouldn't miss this time, and used his free hand to hit, but Sam managed to dodge it. Suddenly, Sam was the fast one of the two, as well as the strongest one like he'd always been. Spike threw punch after punch until he finally landed one on Sam's face. Sam at first stood still, his face hard to read when he turned to the side. When he slowly faced Spike again, his face had an expression Sam had never shown before. It was fuming with pure rage. Spike swallowed anxiously. Sam had snapped. This could be dangerous. Sam was a person who acts slowly on his emotions and would often let them control him. If he was happy, he was overjoyed. If he was jealous, he was deadly jealous. If he was angry, he was furious. When he was furious, well, he was dangerous to be around. Sam suddenly moved much faster than usual, and when he managed to backhand Spike in the face, Spike noticed it was with far more force than he'd ever felt, and it caused him to fall to the ground. He started feeling like it was Chuck he was fighting, but waved it off. Well, this was just Sam, nothing to be afraid of. At least that's what he tried to convince himself of, but knew it wasn't even close to the truth. Sam was by far not something one shouldn't fear when he was like this. Spike fought back the best he could. He managed to injure Sam quite a bit, but all this rage inside of Sam made him somehow immune to all of the pain. Spike was getting tired, and he'd already fractured rib was beginning to hurt like crazy from all the strain. Sam came marching towards him like a mad elephant, and it was intimidating. Spike didn't want to run away. Instead, he got ready to hit Sam, but when Sam got over to him, he bent down, avoiding the punch, and instead held Spike around the waist, lifting him high above his head. "Hey, let me down!" Spike yelled. When did Sam become this strong? And what was the point with him lifting him up? Then, almost too late, Spike realized what Sam was doing. Just as he was about to slam Spike to the ground head first, he was trying to break my neck. Spike thought, panicky. The ground was getting even closer at a dreadful pace, and Spike barely managed to turn enough so he didn't land on his head. He heard a loud crack as he landed hard on his shoulder. He let out a loud groan from the pain, and then just as he saw Sam standing above him, almost jumping down on him with a strong fist flying through the air and landed it right on Spike's jaw with an even louder crack than from his shoulder. Spike woke up from the tantrum and he heard Spike's low, loud howl of pain. Spike was squirming in agony on the ground with both his hands covering his bleeding mouth. "Oh my God, Spike!" Sam exclaimed, shocked, and immediately kneeled down, trying to help Spike. Spike didn't realize Sam was himself again now, and he tried kicking them to make him stay away. "Spike, I'm sorry. What happened? Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over me." Sam was horrified. He stood up and shouted for help, but no one could hear them this far in the forest. Sam started crying. Spike looked like he was seriously, if not vitally injured, and it was all Sam's fault. He kneeled down beside Spike again, asking if he could have a look at the injury. Spike protested, but Sam carefully removed his hands to have a look at it anyway. That's when he quickly realized from what he saw that Spike's jaw was completely out of place, almost hanging loose on the left side where he'd been hit. It appeared to be broken, a bit below where it was supposed to be conjoined with the upper jaw. Jesus Christ, Sam guessed when he saw it. "Spike, I've got to get you to a hospital." Spike made a sound that sounded like a strong no, but Sam ignored it. Spike needed to go to a hospital and fast. "Can you walk?" Sam carefully asked. He didn't get any response from Spike, who was crying in pain. Sam decided to carry him and lifted Spike up, taking his right uninjured arm around his neck for support. Sam began walking out of the forest in the direction of the main road where they could get a bus stop somewhere. It took them almost an hour to get out of the forest, and by that time Spike had lost a whole lot of blood. Luckily, Sam had found a bus station, and bus arrived just 5 minutes later. When the doors opened, Sam hurriedly got Spike in and led him to the first available seat. "Hey," the bus driver called out at him, "there's no riding the bus without bus fare." Sam got angry and yelled at the driver, "For fuck's sake, lady, can't you see this is an emergency?" He cursed at her and went on about how serious Spike's injuries were until the bus lady eventually agreed to let them ride the bus for free to the hospital, even though she wasn't going to the hospital at all. Sam held his arms around Spike's shoulder the whole way to the hospital to support him. He was near fainting from having lost that much blood. When they finally arrived at the hospital, Sam didn't even have to call for help before a nurse spotted them and hurried over to Spike. "What's happened?" she asked Sam and tried removing Spike's hand. "Don't do it," Sam exclaimed. The nurse looked at him. "Don't remove his hands. He's holding his jaw in place," Sam explained. The nurse looked wide-eyed at Sam. "I'll get the doctor," she said, hurrying over to the counter where she called a name on the speaker. A doctor appeared shortly after and was examining the situation. "Nurse, help me get this boy to the radiological department. We need to get an x-ray of his jaw," the doctor announced. "Spike?" Sam corrected the doctor. "His name is Spike." The doctor nodded. "Thanks, kid. You can wait here in the entrance hall, and we'll come back and get you." Then he and the nurse quickly carried Spike with them through a long hallway into an elevator and were gone. Sam was shaking. He was extremely worried about Spike, and he had to find a seat to sit down on, or he was sure he would faint. An hour had passed when a new nurse came over to Sam. She had a compassionate smile on her face, probably not realizing she looked like the bringer of bad news. "Is he okay?" Sam immediately asked. The nurse smiled at him. "Your friend's fine. He's getting a blood transfer as he speaks. He's lost quite a bit of blood." "I know," Sam said, sorry. "The x-ray showed he's shattered his jaw into several pieces," the nurse explained, forgetting to sugarcoat things. "We'll have to gather the pieces with metal implants. The doctors are currently preparing him for surgery." "Metal implants?" Sam repeated. "Is it that bad?" "Oh, he'll be just fine," the nurse smiled warmly. Sam started shaking again. This was all his fault. "Look, we need some information about Spike. Could you help us out?" "I suppose so," Sam replied. "Great," the nurse smiled and indicated that she wanted Sam to follow her. Sam did follow. The two of them stopped when they reached the big counter by the entrance. The nurse fetched out a paper scheme from the drawer and started asking Sam's questions. "Name and surname?" "Spike Schaefer," Sam replied. The nurse wrote it down. "Date of birth?" "Oh, I don't know." The nurse looked incredulously at him. "I thought you knew this boy." "Oh, I do. He's my friend, but he's never told me the date of his birth." The truth was that Spike didn't know his date of birth because no one had told him since he was 4 years old, and a 4-year-old would naturally forget any date, even Christmas. So to save Spike the embarrassment, Sam decided not to tell her this, that Spike actually didn't know when his own birthday was. "All I know is that his zodiac is Scorpio and he was born in 1973. Sometime in autumn, maybe? November? Would that help?" "Well, it helps little," the nurse said. "So he's 14 then?" 13 and a half, Sam said. "Address?" "I don't know, sorry." "Parents' names?" "He's an orphan." The nurse looked up at Spike. "I'm sorry to hear that. Any other living relatives you know of?" Charles Schaefer? I don't remember his middle name." "And still no address?" "No, I'm sorry. Why do you need it?" "We need somewhere to send the bill," the nurse explained. "I thought hospitals were free." "Welcome to the real world, kid." Sam got thoughtful, then he decided to give her his own address. He could use his savings, and if that wasn't enough, he was sure his father could help him out. "Thank you, that'll be all," the nurse smiled. "You can go back to your chair and get some rest now. I'll let you know when the surgery's over." "Thank you, ma'am," Sam said and walked over to the chair he'd been sitting on. The surgery took hours and gave Sam time to fall asleep on the chair. All his drama had made him exhausted, so even though he was worried about Spike, he didn't have enough strength left to stay awake. The same nurse who talked to him previously kindly woke him up. It was late in the evening. "Hey," she spoke softly. Sam woke with a start. "Spike?" he said. "Is he okay?" The nurse nodded. "He's fine. He's been resting a little. He's awake now. You can visit him if you'd like. I'll follow you there." "Thank you," Sam said and followed her. He was nervous to see Spike again, nervous about what his reaction might be. They walked past several rooms with numbers on and sick people in them before they finally reached room 203, Spike's room. He'd gotten a whole room to himself, a small room with a bed standing by the window. Sam had noticed everyone else had big bouquets of flowers standing on their bedside table. All Spike had was a glass of water with a straw and an outdated women's magazine. "Hi," said Sam carefully and sat down on a chair that stood by the bed. Spike didn't respond, didn't look at him, but kept staring out the window. He looked so defeated, weak, and didn't look like himself anymore. There was this look on his eyes like he'd completely given up on everything. He seemed so sad where he sat with tousled hair, white hospital robes, tubes inserted in his right arm. The whole hospital image didn't make Spike look like his strong self anymore. It was a sad sight to behold, and apparently Spike knew that very well. "How are you feeling?" Sam asked again. Spike slowly turned his head around at last and showed Sam the plasters and bandages on the left side of his face. "Oh, right. Must be painful to speak, huh?" Sam said carefully. Spike looked distended. Then he looked out the window again. "You thirsty?" Sam asked, trying to start some conversation with the boy who couldn't speak. Spike shook his head lightly. "Look," Sam began, "I'm really sorry about what happened in the woods." Spike frowned sourly, and I looked away. "We're still friends, right? I don't want to lose you as friend. I love you. I mean as a friend, Sam persisted, but stopped when Spike threatened him by holding his hand on the calling switch above his bed. Spike glared ominously at Sam, his eyes telling him to leave or he'd call someone to take him away. Spike, please listen, Sam begged. Spike hit the switch and soon a nurse came in. What's the problem? She asked. Spike did a nod towards Sam and the nurse took the hint. She turned to Sam and carefully held her hand around his arm. I think it's time for you to leave, she said. Okay, Sam sighed. Before he was let out the door, he turned around and said to Spike, I'll come back tomorrow. When Sam had left, the nurse walked back to Spike and asked him if he could bring him any water. Spike started signaling with his hands that he wanted something to write on, and the nurse gave him her notepad and a pen. Spike wrote, Make sure he doesn't come back. I don't want to see him ever again.